But let's just say you were doing consulting and you were looking at their business. How would you help somebody, no matter what they're doing, increase their network and start taking on this Kevin philosophy of caring, curious, and giving?
Value doesn't always mean I give you something of monetary value. It could be a phone call. It could be a note to let you know that I care. It can be so many different things. And when you take the time to get to know people and listen to what they're saying and what they're not saying, it's actually really easy to quote unquote provide value. I'm not saying that's the only way to get business or that's the only way to do business. To me, that's just the obvious way.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Average Sucks Show. Michael Bernoff here, and I am super excited about today's show, you being here, and our guest. This is somebody who's been a longtime friend, and more importantly, somebody on my team in life, somebody I admire a lot of the actions this man takes, because there's stuff that you could start using immediately no matter what your profession is. Kevin Kauffman is way above and beyond a real estate agent, way above a guy that runs a real estate company. He is somebody that is literally redefining his industry and doing it in an incredible way. What's more important about that is how he lives as a husband, as a dad, takes off an entire summer, goes away, walks away from business, and still dominates as an investor, as an agent, as an entrepreneur. And more importantly, the tools that he brings to the table are stuff that no matter what industry you're in, you've got a chance to use in your life. So if you're an entrepreneur or even helping out at your kid's school, these are ideas on how you can live a more incredible life. So Kevin, I'm excited that you're here today. So you did take off the summer, didn't you?
I did, yeah. I actually took off. I started practicing in May, so I took May off. But then my kids got out of school the very last week of May, and then I didn't go back to work until they went back to school a couple weeks ago.
Got it. So you literally disappear. What does taking off look like? Because I get people watching this right now okay, hold on a second. You mean took off? Is it that you're independently wealthy? Is it that you don't have to think anymore about money? Or is it you've set your life up that way?
So there's a combination of all of those things, right? So I'm not by far, I know people with way more money than I have. Yep. I'm also not hurting. Nobody would feel bad for me, right? However,
got a new nice car in the parking lot.
I made a decision. Actually, it was coming home from summer vacation, probably 3 or 4 years ago. And we just got done spending 2 weeks in San Diego on the beach. And it was a Monday, and I was going back to work. And I'm sitting in my daughter's room, and I was saying to her, hey, I love you. I got to go to the office today. And she didn't go back to school till the next day. So she's not comprehending why I have to leave that day. In fact, I know for sure this was 4 years ago. So she said to me, what do you mean you have to go back to work? I said, I got to go to work. I got to make money. We just spent 2 weeks in San Diego.
I got to pay for it.
If we want to keep doing stuff like that, I got to go make money. She said, Dad, that's kind of dumb. You should be able to make money without going to work. And I said, you know what, baby? That's smarter than you even know. And that day, something clicked, and I just decided if my kids are not in school, I'm not at work. So from that day forward, if they're home, if they've got a day off, I'm not necessarily taking the full day off, but I'm not going to my office. But most of the time, 75, 80% of the time, I'm flat out not working if they're off school that day.
That's a really powerful way of looking at things.
Dude, I got little kids. My girls are 8 and 10 right now. So this was, a few years ago. So they were 4 and 6 at the time. It already feels like so long ago that they were 4 and 6. And now they're going to be 9 and 11 in a few months. And you only get that once, as you know.
Yep. Remember when Joel said to us at Genius, he'd say, you get 17 summers or 18 summers, and then boom, they're gone.
Yes.
It's interesting. Now, Tara, my oldest, she likes to still hang out with us for the summer, but she's already moved out. She's doing her thing. So
I know. I saw that she graduated.
She's got her own place. She's an
what do you
entrepreneur.
mean she graduated?
It's cool to say she's an entrepreneur, but we got to appreciate these young years and everything in life. So here's the thing. A lot of people watching this right now would love to set up their lives differently. So you go about everything in such a unique way. I want to get into a couple topics. I'm just going to put in your head.
Okay.
I want to talk about your giving and your incredible, like, I don't know how you think of these gifts that I get delivered to me. And I'm telling you, like, we even started talking about houses the other day. Like, you are crushing it with gifts. Does that make sense? Which I love. Number two is these events that you're putting on for the industry. Like, I've never heard of anyone that is so not scared of competition that you're willing to literally serve the entire world of your industry and like help them, which is like odd. And I want to talk about that because a lot of people are scared of competition and you embrace just being great, which is incredible. And the third thing is I just want to really go deep on, well, I'll cover that third conversation a little bit later. I've got to give them something to look forward to as they're watching this right now. So let's dig on this right now. Like, so you're primarily, what would you call yourself? What exactly do you do?
So if somebody asked me that I didn't know, if they said, hey, what do you do for a
you
living?
meet a dude at Starbucks, you meet a guy, you're out and about, what do you do?
I tell them I own a real estate business.
Okay.
Because...
Is that boring to tell them?
Yeah, because I'm almost afraid there's going to be another question behind it because it's really hard to describe what I do. Am I a real estate agent? Yes. Do I behave like a regular real estate agent? No.
I thought the word behave.
And so I really view my real estate license and business as something much different than 99% of all real estate agents. And so I don't like to put myself in that box because people go, what do you mean you're a real estate agent? You don't actually go out and list people's houses and help people buy houses. So that's hard. It's hard enough concept for real estate agents to understand, much less the general public. And the fact that I spend most of my time and make more of my money from actually helping the industry and helping other agents build their business is a whole other level of complexity that most people just can't understand. So I typically say, hey, I own a real estate business. And the reality is that looks like a few different things. We sell real estate.
Yep.
Number one, that's kind of like the core business. Yep. And then number two is I would call it a recruiting business, but it's really just a community business of real estate agents, helping other real estate agents grow their sales business and beyond sales. That's really the core of what I do. And then I like to, my business partner and I invest in real estate and businesses in addition to that.
So and I love the terminology. I'm a big language guy. Words is everything for me. You didn't say I'm a realtor. You didn't say I have a real estate company. I have a real estate business.
Yes.
And that's an interesting way of looking at it. So you do anything in all real estate.
Mm-hmm.
So if it was like, if it was somebody like we might invest in a property today, we may be training the industry today, we may be running an event. And I definitely want to cover that later about the event later this year. And I'm super excited about being an honor to speak at that, which is really cool because the next level is really, really what it's about. So walk me through this real quick. So like, I believe I would call you like a master networker. I even call you quite often. It's like, hey, how do you find these people? I'm a great networker, but you know people, you're connected. How important is your network to you? And like, what do you do to like develop that out? Because there's your leads, there's your clients, there's your friends, your team. Like, how are you building that network? Because you just seem to know everyone anywhere in. I throw your name down to anyone anywhere in the industry, and it's like they know who you are. They know you, your number's in your phone, they've met you before, you were at that event, but you're also home with your kids, which is like, you're everywhere but nowhere.
So I remember you and I talking about this maybe a year ago. I was in my driveway, and you and I were on the phone. And
was I in your driveway or on your phone?
I was in my driveway. Okay. You were on my phone. Okay. And
nice driveway.
I said to you, I said, I feel like we're finally starting to be rewarded for the compounding effect of being in our industry for, in my case, 15 or 16 years. You've been doing this a little bit longer than I've been in real estate. And so, first of all, there's a compound effect, right? People think of compound interest only with money, but the reality is there's compound interest in our relationship, and in business and in reputation, all sorts of things, right? And so I think I'm the beneficiary of being boring for so long and just sort of hanging out.
Okay, go deep on that. What do you mean boring?
Like, it's not really that exciting to get up and do the same sort of activities every day, but those over a long period of time compound into massive results. And so because I've shown up as, first of all, I was a top producer. Like, I sell a lot of real estate. I don't sell the most real estate.
And I didn't bring that up on the intro because I didn't want to go that direction. And people think
I don't identify.
And that's why I knew you. I knew you as like short sell time. You killed it.
We killed it, and then we built an even bigger business after that. After we sort of shifted, right? And so, number one, that allowed me to be in rooms and get in relationships easier with people that maybe I wouldn't have been because I was really good at my core business. But the other thing that I don't know that I can take credit for, because I think I was just sort of born with it, is I have a natural curiosity about people. And so I always want to know about people, which makes it really easy to get to know people.
Yeah.
Because what's everyone's favorite subject?
Themselves.
Yeah. And so I'm genuinely like interested in learning about your path and how you got from A to B and how you went from step 1 to step 10.
So let's get less conceptual right now, and let's really dig deep and put you on the spot, which I know you like being put on the spot. You're good at this. We are out to a dinner, not me and you. There's a person out to dinner with you. You have your wife's friend's husband, and you really want to get to know that person. They seem like a good person. The energy, the vibe's good. Business owner. How do you connect with that person?
I genuinely just start asking questions.
Give me an example.
So I might say, how long have you been a plumber?
Yep.
Or how long have you owned a plumbing business? What did you do before that?
Do you know they're a plumber? Do you ask them what they do, or you already knew?
It's probably come up at some point. If not, I'm looking for those things.
Okay.
Whether it's their business or maybe it's even a hobby, right?
Got it.
But I'm already sort of, and I just tend to lock in on those things.
So I'm believing what you're saying, and I'm hearing this, is that you actually knew and cared in advance instead of like, what do you do?
Yeah.
Like, I believe you knew prior to getting there most of the time, correct?
Most of the time I already know. But I think it just comes because I don't ask because it's like manipulative. I need to know. I ask because I just want to know.
Okay.
And so that's why I say, like, part of this I don't think I should really get credit for. I think it's just how I came out of the box, right? Like that from the factory, they delivered me this way. And so I'll just do things like that, whether it's about their business or a vocation or a hobby or something. And usually I'll ask enough questions to satisfy my curiosity that brings people in.
So you're just ultimately curious.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're just interested in things. You're like your daughters. You're like curious.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like a little kid. I want to know how does it work. Partially because I want to get to know you, but partially because I'm going, what can I learn from this guy? What can I learn from her? What can I learn from him that I could like, cool, I can take this one little sliver and I can make my life better.
So by walking in and telling him how great you are and how many houses you've sold and how big your team is, does that benefit you?
No, I would never do that. In fact,
because that's what most people do.
I get feedback from some of my friends who are definitely more well-known, if you will, than me, that tell me like, hey, you actually need to turn that up a little bit.
Okay, a little more bragging?
Yes.
Okay.
Which I'm never going to do.
Got it. So you go into relationships. So this is a big takeaway from everybody so far today, and pay attention to this, everybody, is you're basically saying that you're curious so you can, wow, okay, I'm really getting this. You gain something that you didn't know prior and they feel great.
I think that's how it works.
Okay.
Yes, because and the other thing that I've just realized this, like literally in the last 6 months, I've realized that I have I'm going to forget the word for it, but I definitely sense what people are feeling. I can walk into a room.
Intuitive?
She referred to me as it starts with an E. Anyways, the point is I can walk in, I know, like if I walk in a room.
If it was Joe Rogan, I'd say, Jamie, can you get me what that is? Yeah.
Like.
Empath.
Thank you. Yes, that's exactly.
Corbin, can you get me that? Yes.
Yes.
Corbin's our Jamie.
So I just realized this. I literally didn't know this until a few months ago. And so I can walk into a room and if someone's upset or happy about something, I know. And sometimes I'm wondering why everybody else doesn't know because it's so blatantly obvious to me. And I'm like, how the fuck do you not see? Sorry, can I say that here? I'm like, how do you not see that? And then I just realized like, because not everybody sees that. And so again, I don't get that much credit. I think I was born that way.
Do you think not everyone sees it or some people ignore it?
Yes. I think the answer is yes to both.
Okay.
Not everyone sees it, and some people do see it and ignore it.
So you walk in a room, you could tell someone's either happy, sad, what's going on, something. You may not know exactly what it is, but you know something's there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I built my whole career off that. You know what I'm saying? And so you're willing to accept that part of you. It's new. It's a new toy.
I just realized it, literally.
Okay.
And I had this moment where I was like, oh my God. And then all these scenes in my life started like playing in my head of times where I was in a room and I was wondering why the hell you didn't know what Corbin was feeling, but I did, and why you said the thing that or whatever, right?
Is it a good question to wonder why I don't know, or is it more beneficial to use does it matter that Corbin didn't know, or that Shia didn't know, or Chip didn't know?
No,
or is it?
I figured out I just have to lean into it.
Lean into it.
Yeah.
So you've been leaning into this lately.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's called caring.
Yeah. Yes, that's all it is to me, is caring and being like caring about other people. That's all it is to me.
We don't need to fix them all. Like I'll sit next to someone on a plane, and
Right.
for years, this is going to a really great place right now. I'll sit next to someone on a plane, and I already know. Like I'm like sitting next to someone. I'm like, okay, that person's going through a divorce.
Yeah.
Like I know it. I might not know exactly what the person's name is, who the relation, what happened. I could feel it. I could feel that somebody's child's an alcoholic. I can notice all of these subject matters. And what's interesting about it is I can then choose if I engage or not. So I believe there's an option. So have you seen a movie Unbreakable? Bruce Willis back in the day?
Yes, but it's been a while.
It's interesting. We get the profession in life that is there to serve us. So he's a security guard, but he's there to heal and save people. I believe you offer people an incredible way to live in a great life, which is through the profession of having a real estate business, as well as offer people an incredible place to live. So you have to really care about them because you're really helping them decide their future. Their future of where their location of their existence is and what they're going to do with their time. So what's interesting in that is that we all have a superpower. And your superpower, you're smiling right now. You've got a superpower. Your superpower is that you know how to selectively care.
Yeah.
And that leans into the gifting, that leans into the events and everything else. Amazing how great this is going to be. So I'm glad you're owning that part of you. I teach people how to find that.
And I've been trying to, as I've started to realize this, I've sort of like continued to ratchet it up. I'm going to give you an example. Average Sucks came out. I read it.
Yep.
And I was like, dude, this is awesome. My friends need this. I sent a copy. And when I was here picking it up, though, you and I were talking. And you said something to me about, effectively, it's one thing to send somebody a book. It's a different thing if you send them a note with the book and tell them why it made you think about them.
Yep.
Or say something about this page or whatever and how. So I did that. I was like, he's right. So I sent out 100 copies of Average Sucks with personal notes. And I told every single person that I sent it to why I was sending it to them. And that took me a hell of a lot longer than it took me to send out the last time I sent somebody a book.
Yes.
But it was worth it. And then you've seen the last couple books I've sent out.
It's great.
The question we asked was, how could I send this to somebody that if they received it, the book is, if I send you a book, it's because it's good. It's not, because I'm not trying to sell the book. I already bought the book. It's good and I care about you. But how could I make you feel so damn special that you feel connected to me in the moment that you open that box? That you're like, whoa.
Because why would you send it otherwise? I think
exactly.
a lot of people listening, they're like,
because otherwise
he's
I'm just trying to
sales,
fix you.
Or make a sales pitch, or I want you to do this thing for me, Cialdini reciprocity. No. You're like, dude, I thought about you. I want you to have this book. And because I care about you, I'm going to make it even better.
Yeah. Like the book it's already good. Otherwise I wouldn't have spent the money on it.
Yep.
But I need you to feel your connection to me when you open that box.
That's huge.
So that way, maybe you'll actually be more open to it, and this book can help you move forward.
Yeah, so like that towel that you sent us a couple of months back, there was a towel. Maya loves it. It goes everywhere with us. I mean, it goes on planes. It's like awesome. It's great for. I mean, it goes everywhere. It's like called the Kevin towel. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you're like all throughout the house, but it's just this. I don't know. Was it a towel? What was it? Is it like a
dude? I don't know how to describe it.
It's like this blanket that is perfect to bring on the airplane. It's great on the couch. It's like it keeps you warm. It's like I don't know. If it's a towel or a blanket.
The whole point of it is whether a towel, a blanket, or even a candle.
We use that too.
It's just the point to like, hey, I just want you to know I was thinking about you one day when I sent that to you. That's all. It's a little reminder that you're important to me. That's all it is.
So you've built that into your business model.
That's my entire business. It's almost all I care about now. Kind of like the way you talked to me that day about sending books. I had another friend to me say one time, he was laughing about something because I put together a speaker for an event.
Yep.
And he said to me, you know what? Some company needs to hire you and hand you an American Express black card and tell you who they want to be in relationship with. That would be the smartest move for any company. And I went, that was the first time I realized like, oh yeah, I really am straight up just like relationship focused. Like that is what I do. I just build relationships and I look for ways to help your business, help your life. And then if that means that we end up doing business together, awesome. And if it doesn't, if you're a good person, that's all I really care about is helping you.
I saw that right before the show. You were talking to Mike on our team. I had to like break up the conversation because you were interested in what he was talking about.
Yeah, we were talking about our kids in school and stuff like that. He's got kids that are just a little bit younger than mine.
Yeah.
So
interesting. So what's interesting about this is, so do you teach this?
I try to.
When you say tried it, what do you mean? Because I know the event's coming up, and I still want to get on the gifting thing for a couple more seconds. But the event's coming up, Next Level Agents Live.
Yeah.
And you got a community. How many agents are in the community?
So we've got a community. So we've got sort of two different communities. We had a community within our company of about 2,100 people.
Okay.
2,100 agents, and then we've got like a bigger, I call it non-denominational community of about 27,000.
Okay.
Real estate agents around the country.
That's my favorite number, is 27.
It's a good number.
Yeah. So 27,000, we can grow it though. So if anybody's an agent watching this, how do they find that community?
Go to Facebook, and it's a group called Next Level Agents. Or you could just go to nextlevelagents.com and it'll link you to the Facebook.
What do they find in there?
You're really going to find other agents, other people going through the same thing that you're going through. And the reason I named it Next Level was because I don't care if you sell 10 houses a year and you want to go to 20, or if you sell 200 and you want to go to 500. I just want to be around people that want to go to their next level, whatever it is. I don't care. I'm not going to judge you. If your next level is going from $50,000 a year in income to $100,000, I'm not going to judge you any different than the guy that wants to go from $500,000 to $1 million.
Wow.
It's the movement towards growth that I want to be around.
Because the industry, because here's the thing, people are like, oh, well, the industry is going to change and AI and all that stuff. But if you get all the agents together and we're all working together and growing together, it doesn't go away.
No.
And relationships is never going to leave.
This part, the on the ground, that's the part that cannot be duplicated by technology.
No, never. Not in a billion years.
And if we do it right, the technology will just be a helper to us. It'll just make our jobs easier, so we could actually be like more human and more in connection with other people.
Yes, agreed. Agreed 1,000%. So your whole thing, and the reason I bring this up is, are you considering teaching how you do this to other people? Like, do you teach your team this?
I definitely
going to cover this
I definitely
Next Level Agent Live. Are you going to cover?
I do speak about this often with my team.
Okay.
And I'm also aware that some of what I do is so what's the word I'm looking for?
Specialized?
No,
Specific?
sort of natural and not necessarily. I mean, it's on purpose, but it's also just very natural that some of it's a little harder to teach. So you've got, because not everyone is wired that way. So part of it is like, I've got to explain to them the benefits of it first.
Got it.
Why would you do this? And then it's like, okay, now I can sort of teach you the outline of it and sort of the steps in the process or even the mindset that I go through. But you got to actually want to do it and care about people if you want to be good at it.
Got it. So if someone were to learn, it's through osmosis, basically. They have to get around you.
There's a little bit of that, yeah.
Spend time. As they spend more time with you, it becomes more natural for
Yeah.
them. Okay. So the gifting thing. Okay. So like, do you like wake up in the morning? I know we did an interview in the past. I asked you a question, how do you come up with gifts? And you told this ridiculous story. You're like, I wake up and I meditate in a room. And bottom line is, you got companies that help you with this kind of stuff. What is your process? Because you even got me hooked. Like, I mean, even with this water, like you walk in, I just want to give you shit. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, you walk near me, like I want to hand you things. Every time you're giving me things, I'm giving you things. I feel like we're always just handing each other. You give me a book, I recommend a book. Like, you've created this whole culture with me. Like, you showed up, I'm like, what can I give him? Do you know what I'm saying? I'm like, well, I got this water. I'll give you the new TK's new water.
I was gonna say, shout out to TK.
TK, great stuff. I'll give you guys a link for this as well as hydrogen water. It's pretty badass. But literally, I'm sitting in my office. I'm like, Kevin's downstairs. I want to give you something. I always feel like I need to help you. I don't know if you've set it up that way, but like, you've wired my brain to be that way with you.
Not with intention.
I know.
It's
wonderful. It's such a healthy relationship.
But I think about the way I got to know you, which is I didn't even know you. I heard you speak in 2007.
Yep.
I got my real estate license that month.
Kingdom Living event.
Yes.
Yep.
And for me, I was like, that's the NLP guy. Even if I wanted to buy your course that day, I didn't have the money to buy your course that day, right?
Yep.
And so, but I was connected to you long before we actually really met and became friends. I was already connected to you somehow. And so I think that's just part of how it works. I don't know that can you force it? Like, could I make a target list of people to build a relationship with? Absolutely.
I think that would work.
I do think it would work to a degree, but I don't think you could force, say, like the friendship that you and I actually have.
Yeah.
I think that either happens or it doesn't.
Agreed.
But it doesn't happen without one of us either trying, both of us trying, or what's the word? Serendipity, right?
All right, listen, let me take this opportunity right now. Congratulate you for living a life that screams average sucks. How do I know that? You're listening to this right now, and I can guarantee you're a person that wants more in life. So one, congratulations, and two, I bet you're looking for a shortcut. How do I get there quicker? How do I make this stick more? And since 2008, the fastest way that we've showed people how to become a person that lives a life that screams average sucks, and on top of that, become a person of influence and get what they want in this world, is our Core Live event. We've got one coming up very soon. The website is simple, michaelbernoff.com/Core Live. All the information, all the videos, and everything is there to find out more. And also an incredible early bird special to give you a big old discount. Again, michaelbernoff.com/Core Live, and I'm excited to see you there. So let me ask you this. You got this event coming up. I'm excited to speak at. You got great speakers coming, great training. It's for the industry. For people watching this right now, that are in an industry or they can own an auto shop, they can own a hair salon. They got the ability to do this as well. And our friend even Greg does this stuff out in Havasu. And so I seen he's got a similar. That's why you guys are friends. You're similar with this as well. What is your thinking about competition? Like, what is your real belief? Not like some meme you read, not some leadership thing. Like, what do you feel? Because there's 80 billion agencies out there.
I'm not denying or fooling myself that there isn't competition. I just don't view competition as competition.
What do you view it as?
I view it as somebody else who's doing the same thing I'm doing. That's maybe they might have a similar goal. That's all I view it as, and I view it as somebody I can learn from. That's how I view competition, quote unquote competition.
So you invite other agencies that are doing what you're doing to come to a place where you're going to be, and you and your friends are going to cover with them what you do to win.
Yeah.
You're giving away your secret sauce to everyone.
Yeah, because I don't believe there's anything as a secret. I don't think there's anything new under the sun, right? I just think there's maybe different ways of explaining it and expressing it and sharing it. And I firmly believe, for example, when I teach, I'm usually the one that benefits the most from it because it forces me to think about what I'm going to talk about.
What kind of stuff do you teach?
I just did one on creative finance for real estate investments. I just did that one last
Give us the cliff
week.
notes because people might need that right now.
It was basically not using a bank to buy more real estate. So
how do we do that?
The last rental property that my business partner and I just bought, we did what it's called seller financing. The owner of the property happened to own it free and clear, so no mortgage, and he wanted a certain dollar amount. We said, we'll give that to you if you will be the bank for the first 5 years at a minimum at this interest rate. And he said, absolutely, I will do that because it puts more money in his pocket, not only from the purchase price, but because the interest accruing on the money, and it saves me money because it's less of an interest rate than I would pay the bank.
Yep.
And by the way, I don't have to deal with the bank. I don't know if you've dealt with the bank recently. It's kind of a pain.
That much paperwork.
Yes. So this closing, easiest deal I've done in my life.
Did you ever just get with an attorney or?
Nah.
It's
funny enough, the seller was an attorney.
So he drew it up?
So he drew it up.
Very good.
The closing document package was this big instead of that big. No kidding. It took 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes, to sign closing documents. Easiest closing I've ever had in my life.
So it didn't matter. Credit score didn't matter anything.
No,
Just walked in, trust each other, figure it out.
We said,
personal guarantee.
Here's what I'm willing to put down. Yeah, and so we're into it. Like, it's not like I was trying to rip. We weren't trying to rip the guy off. It was a good deal for him. It was a good deal for us. But most real estate agents can't think outside of the quote unquote box, right? We used to teach something when I was trying to explain short sales to agents back in the day called the Outback. Literally named after like the Outback in Australia, which is
at the steakhouse.
No one's around, so whatever two people can agree to, you can do.
Yep.
That's all creative finance is, or creative real estate is. It's just you and I can agree to something, right? If you want to sell your house to me, and we decide, let's say you got a great interest rate.
Yep.
And let's say you got a 2.5% interest rate, and if I go get a new mortgage for your house, I'm going to be paying like 6.5 or 7.
Yeah.
So I could say, hey, Mike, tell you what, I'll give you this much, however much dollars it costs. Let's say it's worth $2 million. I'm going to give you $2 million. And I'm going to give you this much money today, my down payment. But I'm not going to give you all the money at once, just the down payment right now. And then I will pay your mortgage off for you, and I will keep paying you X amount at, say, 4% interest. So I've now just created an income stream for you for a long period of time, whatever that time period is that we agree to.
And you take the house off their hands.
Yeah. We both win. You get what you want, I get what I want, and we don't have to involve a bank.
So you're teaching agents how to think differently.
Yes.
Okay, I remember we did a secret meeting in 2020.
Yes.
We all got together and we just met. We're like, we couldn't stay home. We're like, we're just going to meet.
This is boring.
This is boring. We all got together. We talked about it. And I believe one of the biggest statements I said, and you really bought into this, was I said the biggest problem with real estate agents is they think like real estate agents and they don't think like business owners.
Yes.
And they only think about the transaction. They think about just real estate. They think their profession's their profession. When they need to think like a business owner, which means that a business owner is, how do I grow my business? How do I grow my clients? How do I grow my lead list? Not how do I sell a house? How do I recruit an agent? There's way more to it than that. How do I give a great quality of life?
The problem with real estate agents and salespeople is that if you don't treat it like a business, then that means you're going to treat them like transactions.
Yep.
And they're not transactions, they're human beings. They might be doing a transaction with you, but that's another human being on the other side. And it's really hard to see somebody as more than a transaction if that's the way you're behaving.
Got it. And that's what most people do. That's also, actually, that's top down.
Yeah.
That's top down. It's not a culture you want to really be in either. Everyone's like, it's a numbers.
No,
metrics.
everyone feels gross.
Yeah. I've seen that
You
before.
feel gross
like,
afterwards.
People ask me like, hey, we did an event. How'd you do? I'm like, I did good.
Yeah.
I never give like, oh, I did like 39 metrics. These people talk like how many buying units. As soon as people talk that way, I walk away.
Yeah. Because it's like, now, if you and I are having a conversation, we're talking about how is business going, and like that's different, right? But how good did you do based on, it's so weird to me. Like in real estate, everybody wants to talk about how many houses you sold.
Yep.
Like, so we call those units.
Yep.
Or the volume, which is the total dollar amount of all those houses, or GCI, gross commission income. It's top line revenue, right? And it's like, yeah, those are all things, they kind of matter when evaluating a business, but like, why is that what we talk about? That's sort of weird that that's what we talk about. If we really wanted to talk about business, we should actually talk about our net profit, and we should talk about other things, right? So, but we use these vanity metrics that look good because they're inflated. Good. Yeah, they feel good, right? And it's, to me, it's just kind of a weird backwards thing.
Got it. So they're doing it incorrectly. So let's just say like an agent's watching this or a business owner's watching this, and I know you don't do consulting. Do you do consulting?
I try not to.
Okay, but if you had to, you would, right?
Yeah.
But let's just say you were doing consulting and you were looking at their business. How would you help somebody, no matter what they're doing, increase their network and start taking on this Kevin philosophy of caring, curious, and giving? Like it's like Corbin, for an example. Corbin's got a video production company. What does he do?
First of all, I want to know, like, who does he know? Like, you know, first thing, somebody gets same way as if they were getting into real estate. I'd be like, great. How big is your sphere of influence? My what?
Ask that question again.
How big is your sphere of influence?
That is a very interesting question. Not to cut you off, but like when you ask someone that question, and they really write it out, and they'll realize, let's say it's like about this big, right? And the question is, do you want to grow that?
Yeah. Well, and they'll say like, oh, I don't know anybody. And I'm like, well, there's 1,800 contacts in your phone book on your phone on that app. Okay. So you don't know anybody. You don't have a sphere of influence. So,
what's your definition of sphere of influence? Because I think a lot of people like they'll say like, dude, people I could like get them to do things like.
No, here's how I defined it for myself personally. If they called me, I would take their call, or they would take my call. I don't necessarily love talking on the phone, so that's a big one for me. Yep. If we saw each other in the grocery store or something, we would say hi to each other. They wouldn't run from me, I wouldn't run from them.
Even if you didn't know their name, and you saw them out of the bar.
Yeah, like, hey, God, I know you from somewhere. But realistically, that's my qualification, so then I better actually know their name, and then I need their phone number, email address, home address.
Got it.
Otherwise, they're not on my sphere of influence.
1,800 people in your phone, correct? Let's use that as a number.
Yep.
What percentage do you think people have that is actually that sphere of influence? Let's give people like a realistic thing.
Less than 5%.
Okay, very good. So like, let's just say 50.
Yeah.
50 to 100 people. Okay, good. So that's the average person. The average person is by 20. Okay, so now you've asked the question, who's your sphere of influence? This is really good.
Yeah.
So this should be a new topic. We talk about it next level live.
Yeah.
Next level agents. So what happens is you've got a sphere of influence about this big. What do we do now?
So first thing is you complete it. So literally start with the names and then go phone number, email address, physical address, spouse, kind of is included in the names.
Social media account.
Social media.
Okay.
If I can fill those in, now I really have a sphere of influence, right? Now it's just about first of all, I need to be able to add to that, right? I'm not going to say I need to add X number of people per week because then it gets a little robotic and less relationship. But that should always be growing. If you're in business, like that should always be growing, especially. But then the other thing is, how can I add value to these people? And by the way, value doesn't always mean I give you something of monetary value. It could be a phone call. It could be a note to let you know that I care. It could be a pop by to say, hey. It could be a cup of coffee. Like, it can be so many different things. And when you take the time to get to know people and listen to what they're saying and what they're not saying, it's actually really easy to quote unquote provide value. People say the words provide value, and then people are like, well, I don't know what you mean. What's providing value? Like, I don't know how to define it, but I know it when I see it. That's, unfortunately, value is one of those things, right? Because value to you is different than value to me. And so that means I actually have to know you well enough to know what might help you one day.
So you're going into this to saying, okay, this person, this is just common sense, but not very common to many people.
But how many business owners do you know that do this?
None. 8, 12, 15, 20.
Right.
Out of
Not enough.
Thousands I know. So you're saying locate, first off, accept you have a circle of influence.
Yeah.
Step 2, ask yourself, do you want to complete it? And then eventually step 3, grow it, correct? Mm-hmm. Do not figure out what the value is until you understand who the person is or even get into sales pitch.
Yeah.
We are not selling anything to anybody immediately, correct?
Correct.
Got it. So this is like the old Amway, make your list of 100 people. That is I have a sphere.
Yes.
But that's now, hi, how are you? I want to share my new opportunity with you. The problem is we have now...
So gross.
It doesn't work right. Now, granted, it's better than nothing. I recommend it.
Yep.
If you're brand new, you got to start somewhere, correct? Yeah. But it's not... We didn't connect yet.
Yeah.
So we got to find a need.
Yep.
Very good.
And the only way you find a need is...
I believe that there's a benefit to the list of 100.
The only way you find the need is you pay attention to them. They actually now have to become your favorite subject, not you.
So you have a sphere of influence of people that you would like to. So just because you have it, does it mean it's activated?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, those are definitely different things.
Okay. So we're activating a list. So basically, take Corbin for an example. We make a list of the people. We start filling it in, name, address, phone number. Do we really have it? Taking the time to do it. If you do not take the time to do it, that is it. You're not taking advantage of really good interest.
Yeah. Most people will not do it because they want to be distracted with complication in their life to avoid doing the things that matter.
So that's the most important thing for all business owners.
I think all business owners, no matter, dude, if I opened a restaurant tomorrow, that would be my first strategy. If I opened a grocery store or some sort of retail front or even an online store, it doesn't matter. That would be my
mail.
Why would you not want to talk to the people that already like you, trust you? Like, why would they not be your first phone call to let them know that you were doing something?
Why do you think that is? I have my reasons. You go first. Let's go rock, paper, scissors. Who goes first? I mean, it's like, what do you think the reason is?
Oh, what do I think the reason is? I think people create a lot of different reasons. Mostly is because if they make it complicated, they don't actually have to take action.
Got it. And I think that people are embarrassed that the last thing they did
didn't
work out, and they have to now, like, let's say Corbin is a plumber, and now he's a video guy, and even though he thinks it's cool being a video guy, he's been saying the plumber was the greatest thing in the world. Last thing didn't work out for them, so it's embarrassing to now come with this new thing. Or what if they don't like me?
Or maybe he doesn't actually like video as much as he thinks he does because he's not willing to get over that part.
Yep.
So there's all these things, but my whole point is we should probably start with the people that like us first and then grow that list. I'm not saying that's the only way to get business or that's the only way to do business. To me, that's just the obvious way.
Well, the interesting thing about it, I've heard about making a list of 100, I've heard all that, but what I missed on all of this was the filling it in and completing it, and then activating and continually growing it.
It's like the McKay 66. Have you ever seen that?
No, go.
Harvey McKay. So he had this thing called the McKay 66, which is where he knew. So the best way to learn how to get to know people is from marketers. And so he had this thing called the McKay 66, which is like, this is their political affiliation. This is their spouse's information. This is where they met their spouse. Like, it's literally 66 things. It's so in depth. It's crazy to think that you could fill that out on any one person. However, if you just took that viewpoint, you couldn't help but to really understand where that other person is coming
You could
from.
really help them.
Yes. You would know how to help them, most importantly.
So if I would say there's a strategy that you have for businesses, you truly believe in timing, meaning that you want to catch the right person at the right time.
Yeah.
So keep the relationship going long enough so the timing fits. Because I've heard so many times you can control price, you can control at some level.
Yeah.
You can control interest rate at some level. You can change the name of it. You can switch the color of it. But the only thing you can't control is timing.
Yeah.
So, but if you stay with people in your life long enough, eventually in a lifespan, the timing, they're eventually going to do something with you.
It'll line up.
So you're playing the long game.
Yeah. It's absolutely a long game.
This is the whole business model.
Yeah.
That's everything you're doing.
Yep.
There's no more complication than that.
No, why?
So somebody's watching this right now goes, oh, okay, whatever, I tried that, but I need to like sell something by tomorrow.
Yeah. So you're gonna have to do things besides that, right? So let's say a new real estate agent joins my sales team. We're still starting with the sphere.
Okay.
That's where we start. Nothing else matters till we do that. And if you do that, cool. By the way, probably almost all real estate agents, in their first 12 months, they're going to do a couple transactions from their sphere.
Yep.
In fact, the whole brokerage industry is built on someone's going to get a license, do 2 or 3 deals from people they already know
Yep.
before they get out of the industry and
Yes.
realize they got to go back to whatever they did before.
Yep.
So those are some easy deals. But timing is going to have to line up. It might take 30 days or it might take 9 months, but it's going to happen, right? Then it's like, cool, so what are the things we can do to go meet more people right now? That's where you look at prospecting-based open houses or getting on the phone and calling for sale by owners or canceled and expired listings, things like that. Like that's, so you've got to have some active. You can look for some quote unquote right now business. But the thing about right now business is you're playing such a low percentage game. Like let's say I'll put it to you this way. So Dean Jackson, our mutual friend, would call the sphere of influence thing, he'd call that return on relationship. If you had 150 people in your sphere of influence and you treated them right, that's good for about 30 home sales a year, almost without exception, if you do it right. Now, if you want to do another 30 sales, you got to talk to a whole lot more than 150 people, like way more than 150 people. So percentage-wise, you just got to work harder, meaning do more of the activities. Yeah. The sphere is always going to treat you better in the long run, but to your point, you may not be able to do a transaction for the first few months.
Got it. So the person watching this right now that's like, okay, I got it. Would you even think that they're even serious about their business if they don't do the sphere?
I would say no, but I also think that might be unfair because I think some people just don't think that.
Okay.
Because I know successful people that don't care about their sphere, but they're in transaction mode all the time. And that just doesn't seem like a good place to be.
Got it. Okay. So let me ask you. So we work on this. We're all excited. We fire ourselves up. We do our list of 100. We forget the list of 100. I hate that term. Your sphere.
Yeah.
Your influence sphere. I do the influence sphere, and then my question is that the indicator light whether if they do that or not, whether you work with them or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. There's no step 2 if you can't do that.
Okay.
Because
that's not even sales.
If you're not,
that's pen and paper. That's Excel spreadsheet. That's doing numbers on a Mac.
If you're not willing to do that, that tells me you're expecting business to fall out of the sky and land in your lap, and that's just not how my world works.
Okay, or anybody's world works.
Yeah.
I mean, I every once in a while somebody's going to stumble across like somebody wanting something, but that was based on.
But it's usually because they're usually a really active person actually doing the right
Shit just
things,
happens for active
and
people.
so it feels like dumb luck.
Okay, got it. So. The event you're putting on.
Yes.
Okay, and Next Level Agent Live.
Yes.
And have you done this one before?
Yeah, so in 2018 and 2019, we did the first couple events. So this whole Facebook group started back in end of 2017. So about 6 years ago now. Yeah, it's a community. So I told you the whole purpose was just to share ideas, regardless of what brokerage you're at, regardless of what your business model was. There's a lot of different ways to be successful. Let's just share ideas. So then that turned into, let's do a live event and see, and the community just embraced it. So we went to Las Vegas, put on a one-day event, probably had 250 people there, and it was awesome, man. Some of the best speakers in our industry just showed up, giving of their time, giving of their tactics, just willing to share what works for them.
All different companies.
Yeah, all different companies.
Okay.
So we ran it back in 2019, and the difference was we went to 2 days instead of one, and we had like 450 people at that event.
Where was that at? Vegas?
That was also Vegas. Yeah. And then we started planning our third event in Scottsdale instead of Vegas. And I don't know if you remember April of 2020, but some weird stuff happened.
Weird, yeah.
And so we ended up canceling that.
The year that didn't work out the way we expected.
Yeah, no kid, that's an understatement. And so we had to cancel that event. Unfortunately, we were on track for about 600-700 attendees.
Incredible.
And but we had to cancel that in March of 2020. Unfortunately,
That was the last one.
yeah. So we haven't done one since. And we just decided, you know what? It's just been too long. We haven't done this event. There's a lot of events out there. Some are good. A lot of them are mediocre. And I'm really passionate about, number one, I like to be the host of the party. I want to host the stage. I want to host the party. I want to give the people that don't necessarily always get the stage but deserve it a chance to be on stage and to talk. And I also want to use it to introduce my friends. So the whole purpose of like having you speak is because I firmly believe our industry needs to learn from you. They need to learn what you have. To have you, do you remember that speech you mentioned like Havasu earlier? Remember that speech that you gave there?
Yeah.
My entire industry needs to hear that over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
We all need to hear that. And we need to be exposed to different ways of thinking that aren't just what our real estate companies, our real estate brokerages tell us we should be learning. And so I like to curate the content and bring in speakers and bring in experiences for people to learn from. And I think that makes my industry better. And because of that, I'm going to benefit because my industry gets better.
Yes, if the industry gets better, the industry works better. And
Yeah.
if we support the industry, you can't spend our whole life giving everything to everybody at all times.
No.
But a piece of what you do is about serving and giving back.
Yeah, I'm fortunate in the sense that, listen, I could either charge a lot of money for the event and make money that way. I don't like doing that. Or I can do something like this where I know it's going to continue to build relationship capital for me, and it's going to benefit me one way or the other in the long run. So I'm not necessarily worried about dollars in versus dollars out today, because I know long run, it all evens out. And luckily, I've built a business up well enough over the years to where I don't need to worry about next month's commission checks, right? I don't need to worry about this event making X amount of profit. I'm not worried about that. We're not, you know.
It's not going to change your life.
Nothing's going to change my life there, one way or the other.
So what should somebody expect that's coming out to the event?
I think they should expect to be challenged mentally. So on their belief system, I think they're going to expect to be inspired, because for like real estate, our industry, it's the toughest time we've had since I met you, since the downturn in 07, 08.
Is it tough or different?
It's different, but it's the toughest it's actually been.
Okay, because the houses are harder to find.
No one wants to sell their house.
People don't want to sell their houses because they want, and then the interest rate is where
It's
forcing us to grow.
Yes.
Like we're gonna have to get freaking creative. This is 2020 when I have 500 people coming to an event,
and I don't know what to do.
Our team invented the screens at home. Like we beat everybody to
Yes.
that. Like I go, Corbin and Chip, we got 2 projectors, put them up. We're going to go do like an at-home Zoom. Like we had it, like we're like, man, what do we do? Does that make sense?
That's where
you
we're
were
at.
Basically there.
That's where we're at, because we have to find different ways to do deals and they don't just happen in like 30 days. Like I meet you and then you turn into a closing. No. That's not the way it works right now. And so you're going to learn how to, number one, how to mentally overcome that. We'll learn how to tactically overcome it. We're going to spend a little bit of time on making sure that you're energy-wise, you're good, healthy-wise, and that you're good financially, making good long-term decisions, not just next month decisions.
Great. So how do people find out about the event?
NLAlive.com.
NLA?
NLA.
We'll put that on the thing.
nextlevelagents.live.com. That's all they got to do.
What's it cost?
It's $400.
$400. Okay.
Yep.
What does an agent get if they get one transaction this year?
Well, you're talking about on average $10,000 to $12,000
Okay,
minimum.
so if they get one extra deal, make one friend, someone holds them accountable. Crazy thing happened. I tell people, like, when they go to an event, you could put earplugs in, not pay it, blindfold on, not pay attention to anything or watch anything. But the fact that you left your office that day, you will have new ideas.
Absolutely. And then the other thing is, with something I've always taken advantage of, if I go somewhere to go to an event, I'm going to meet somebody and I'm either sending them a referral or they're sending me one.
Yep.
One introduction is all it takes.
Yep.
One idea, or like you said, just the fact that you leave. sometimes my business partner friend and I will joke like, we'll just get on the airplane and we've already got the idea before we've left the Arizona's airspace.
Yep.
And it's like, this trip was already worth it.
I meet people. It's interesting because I believe that I'll talk about this for a second. 2020 kind of screwed us up a little bit. Made us. There was a moment where like I stopped talking to people. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was out. I never stopped doing stuff.
Yes.
Like, I literally was running events. I was doing things around people, but I started like saying no to things like where to go, where to travel, because it was annoying, all the masks and all that crap. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
It was annoying, the extra, no matter what side of the fence
Just
you're
the
on.
extra effort.
It
Yeah.
was extra effort. Do you know what I'm saying? It was annoying. So I started saying no to that stuff. And I believe we have this like natural tendency for oxytocin to be around each other and to connect.
Yes.
And I think there's like this urge right now for people to want to be with each other.
Oh, for sure.
So do you have to force yourself to like leave the house and go to these things? Like you got your kids, daddy, you want to, your girls, like you play with me. I know you got to like get on the plane. Tickets are not as cheap as they used to be anymore. How do you get through that? Because I know as soon as I get picked up by my black car guy, Hanny, when he picks me up at the house, something at my phone, I'll get a message from somebody. By the time I check in at the airport, I've already met somebody within 3 minutes. I'm in the lounge. I ran into my buddy Jeff Hayes, was in the lounge once next to me. Like my flight switch, like I literally will run into people all day long. Like I'll sit next to an incredible speaker, a magician. I can't even get where I'm going without meeting 6 people I can do business with.
Yeah.
I bring 2 books with me always, and I hand them out.
I occasionally have to talk myself into. I'm usually looking forward to it,
Okay.
and occasionally I'm like, I just don't want to leave my family, but I just remind myself of what you just said. Basically, is like, hey, there's a benefit for this. I'm going to go do it, and even if I don't want to go, same thing. The minute I get to the airport, or I get on the airplane, or I get in the car, I'm like, okay, let's do this. I'm ready.
That is like I mean, like I could make up a story. I mean, I truly believe like that's the way the world works. I am not joking. I literally will go to somewhere. We had this crazy experience when Tanner and I and Mike we were in Florida, and I was talking about this guy. I go, Mike, you need to meet my buddy. This guy's got this awesome product. He's incredible. Helps out with guys with this stuff, with health. You got to meet Cliff. You just got to meet him, right? I only met Cliff twice. We went to the fights here in town. Great guy through my friend Evan. He's like, yeah, I want to meet him. We're in Tampa. He lives in Fort Lauderdale. His wife is on our flight in Tampa.
Of course.
Flying back. And then Tanner runs into his kindergarten teacher there in the airport. So like, I just believe like when you're in a new environment, we seek ways to be safe and get what we need. So it's actually like it's a weird attraction thing. You have the same experience?
Yeah, all the time. All the time. Of course you saw somebody. Of course you did. Because you're open to it.
Yeah.
You're open to it, and you actually did get out of your normal everyday routine. Like stuff.
Our routine is a death trap for our business.
Things like that are out there every day. You just like actually have to have your eyes open for it, or be willing to experience it.
To agree that it works.
That stuff happens constantly.
So it's a balance between monotony of the sphere building, because that's monotony.
Yeah.
And the randomness of trusting the process that you need both. Because if you don't do the monotony, you're never going to get anywhere.
Yeah.
You have to have that like systems
You
put
gotta
in
get the work
place.
done.
Got to get the work done. But then it's also like, dude, I'm just going to go somewhere today. Like I walk up to the smoothie shop around the corner. I ran into a guy that you gave him a book.
Yeah.
You gave a guy a book, and I run into him, one of your agents or an agent that you've worked with. You're Michael Bernoff. Just the other day, I messaged you. I get a call from my daughter's dressmaker for skating. He says, oh, there's a new house that you may be interested in. It wasn't right. I pull up, and the guy goes, Michael Bernoff. How do you go? Do we know each other? And I'm like, do I know this guy? He's like, I read your book. I haven't met before, but I'm friends with Kevin Kauffman. He sent me a copy of your book. And I know we're in Arizona. I know this guy.
Yeah.
But that's...
dude, there's 80,000 real estate agents in Arizona.
But I go to random
But
house.
you met that guy.
Yeah, and they love you, and they're going to be at the event.
That stuff happens constantly. Constantly.
So how do we get people to do that? What are the
You got to
rules?
get out of your routine.
So you have a routine, and then you got to get out of your routine.
Yep.
And then you got to come back to your routine. You got to love your routine, but leave your routine.
Yes. Like everything else in life, there's nuance. Or as one of my friends, John, says, duality. Like there's
Sounds fancier.
Yeah, duality is definitely a fancier word. I like the word nuance. It's kind of like there's not, not everything is all this or all that. Like there's nuance to everything in life. And so to your point, you got to have a routine, and you got to get out of your routine. You can't always be in your routine, but you need to be in your routine enough to actually build something worth having. That's the duality. That's the nuance to it.
Yeah. So if there's an agent out there and they're struggling, or even a business owner, or anybody that's just wants to do better in the world, do you connect with them?
I do quite often. Usually that is through our Facebook group, Next Level Agents, or maybe my podcast, the Next Level Agent podcast, or at in-person events. Like, that's why we put on these events, because I want them to come to NLA Live in December and go, hey, I'm open. What am I going to learn here today? And then be open to learning something. Whether that they get something from me directly because we talk, or they hear you speak, or they hear, my buddy Dustin talk. What doesn't matter. They're going to get something from someone if they're open, but they got to be open.
Got it. So you're looking for open-minded people to connect that want to grow.
Yeah, if you're not open-minded, definitely don't show up, because you'll hate it, because it's just a bunch of open-minded people that want to get better.
I'm going to do the best pitch I've ever heard in my life. If you're not open-minded, don't come, because
you'll hate it.
You'll hate it because the people are open-minded. Like, if you're really negative and a pissed off person, don't show up, because everyone will be positive. You won't be with your people.
Yeah, you'll
So it's a group of winners.
Yes.
Or people on their way to win.
Yeah.
Actually, if you're on your way to winning, you're winning.
You're already winning.
Yeah.
You're already winning. That's why I'm saying, like, I don't define next level any specific way, because we should all have our own next level, because what's important to me should be different than what's important to you.
So
they might be the same, or there could be some crossover, but if it was exactly the same, wouldn't that be boring as hell?
Yes. So you're doing better than a lot of agents out there, right?
Yes.
And you have people you're doing better than, and there's also people that are doing better than you, correct?
Absolutely.
So if we all accept that there's somebody doing better, and there's something they're doing that we're not doing, that if we did, that would make the biggest difference.
Yes. The whole point of that's why I let people put people on stage, because, like, if I got this one thing I'm doing that's crushing it, that's helping my business, wouldn't you want to know that? Because maybe it's something easy enough for you to implement in your business, and it's the difference between where you're at today and getting to where you actually want to be.
I love this. Okay, so an agent's watching this right now. They're like, I'm loving what you're doing. First step is check out the Facebook group, right?
Yep, Facebook group.
Make sure they like positive, incredible people.
Yes.
Come to the event.
Come to the event.
Okay, and I'm going to tell you guys, make certain to get yourself to the event. Not only am I going to be there, you're going to have Kevin's going to be there, Fred's going to be there, get some other, who else is going to be speaking?
My buddy Ben Kenny, who is probably the #1 real estate agent in the entire world.
Okay,
he will be there.
There's going to be an opportunity for an everyday agent, new or existing, to be with one of the top agents in the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, period.
Period.
Guy's making a lot of money, spends time with his family, gets to do whatever he wants to do. Does the guy really do a lot of real estate anymore?
Like me, he's a business owner.
Okay. He's an investor. He's always there looking for things.
And then we'll have real estate agents that are literally, they're a one-person show, so to speak, but they're crushing it. Right? So there literally is all these different ways to succeed in real estate. We'll highlight many of them.
Got it. Okay, so let's quantify this whole thing here for just a second and make this all work. You truly are right now, you're living the way you really want to live.
Yes.
What is your next step, next phase of this?
It's so funny you asked that, because that is the thing I've been spending so much time on. I have this thing where I really enjoy where I'm at right now. It's been hard for me to imagine, quote unquote, the next best thing, because it's,
you found your average.
It's so good. Yes, very much. Found my average. And the #1 topic I've thought about and even talked about with other people I trust over the last week is, like, what does that next level look like for me? It's easy for me to go, I want to quadruple my income, or I want to 10 times my income. To me, that's like a lazy thought, though. So that's why I don't have a good answer yet. That's where I'm camping out. Is my next level for me is, I know it includes more of what I'm doing and impacting more agents at a higher level. I feel weird saying that without quantifying it, though, and I just don't have
So you don't have the answer, but you know what it is you're looking for.
Yes.
So you're throwing it out there to the world.
I'm actively having conversations both with myself and people I trust, like you and some friends, to, like, literally work through that.
We'll figure that off camera. We'll show the show in a couple of years. You'll have pulled off what it is you did.
Yes.
And we're going to figure out the formula for making that happen. So I love this. And I want to just go back to one thing we said at the beginning and really help everybody with this one little idea. You mentioned the decision with your kids and your daughters basically not understanding why you didn't go back to work. Do you believe people need to work as hard as they're working long term?
I think that they need to work hard while they're working. The problem is they take up 6 or 7 days of the week because they're not being effective with the time they do give it. And Dan Sullivan always says that, like, something like, if it takes you more than 200 days a year, you're not a very effective entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Just be effective in the time that you do have. and be purposeful with the time that you do have. So if you know what your number one's, we got a mutual friend. I met him at your event. His name is Tommy Mello. You know Tommy.
Yeah, of course.
So Tommy and I had lunch last week, and we're just catching up. You know what my number one takeaway from him was? And you know how big his business has gotten. It's huge. That guy is totally clear on what his most valuable thing to that company is. He is so damn clear on what he brings to that company and what he needs to do every day to make it go, that he only focuses on those things. To me, that was like, to be able to see where his business has gone. I think I met him in
You met him in 2017 at HIT.
At HIT. Yep. And
he was not there then.
No, he wasn't even close. But I was like, man, this guy's really smart. We just became buddies, and we've stayed in touch the whole time.
He's buying $100 million companies.
Yeah. And the thing that stood out to me last week is I was like, this guy knows what moves the needle and what activities he's responsible for every day, and that's all he cares about. He does those things. And if people approach their job the same way, now I'm not saying they should do it for as many hours a day or as many days a week as Tommy does. I'm not here to say that. I'm just saying Tommy is so crystal clear on his activities that of course he's been so successful. And so if everybody else would take that into their business and actually knew what their things were, whatever their unique abilities are, whatever their top 20% is, they'd be so much happier, and then they'd have that extra time for their family.
So you're working on this constantly now, right?
Constantly.
So when someone comes to Next Level Agent Live, you're going to radiate a version of this. They're going to pick up some of this through osmosis.
Absolutely.
Which is a big piece of the puzzle. So Kevin, man, really appreciate having you on the show today.
It. Yeah.
Did we miss anything, or we'll just do session 2 coming up soon?
We'll just have to do session 2. I'm sure we got everything, and we could probably talk about 50 other topics.
We'll keep on going. We'll talk when they're not on here. So appreciate it. Again, definitely check out what Kevin's up to. I will tell you, I do not promote anything other than people I've been around. I always make sure there's like a long runway. We've known each other for over a decade, and I've watched what you've done. I've watched what's going on and watch how much you care. So if you're an agent, you're out there in the world and you want to learn, you want to grow and get incredible people, I'll be speaking at the event. I'll be there mixing, mingling with you guys. Get out there in December. It'd be an incredible event. Super excited about having you be there. Again, the website again is
nlalive.com.
nlalive.com. Check it out. Check out that Facebook group, and appreciate you, brother.
Yeah.
So glad you're here.
Thank you so much.
Well, thanks for joining us for the Average Sucks Show. And the big question people ask is like, Michael, what is next? And the answer is simple. Get Average Sucks, my brand new book. And the reason why I want you to have this is if there's things you want in your life and for some reason you've said to yourself, why am I holding back? Why am I not getting what I want? I know I'm capable of more. This book answers all of that and more. So go to averagesucks.com. Check out all the other stuff on the page. Got a bunch of bonuses for you. Get the book, read the book, and most importantly, follow the instructions. They're very simple. You'll finish this little book in a couple hours. Real easy to read, and it's going to start showing you how to get more of what you want in this world. So averagesucks.com, and catch us on the next Average Sucks Show.